When we first started Titan applicators in 2015, we pretty much started the exact same way that I'm a huge opponent of today, and that is we didn't have any industry experience. We had very informal spray foam education, and we didn't have enough money. The two things that we did have going for us, though, is A, we gave a damn, and B, if we didn't know the answer, we developed relationships with mentors so that we could learn from them and try not to replicate their mistakes. Are there people in the industry today that know more than us? Of course. But we continue to get better and grow every year, every day in a highly technical and very advanced trade. But I've actually been reflecting a lot on this lately.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good, I can tell.
If you pick any one of our jobs from the past 7.5 years, any one of those jobs, from purely a technical and execution standpoint, we've found success in those jobs from one or a combination of three things. One, we strictly follow the product specifications so that we're installing it exactly the way the manufacturer wants us to. Two, we've learned from the past mistakes of our mentors and we've tried avoiding them and not duplicating them. Or three, which happens to be my personal favorite and also the most frequent, we got our teeth kicked in at the School of Hard Knocks, learned the hard way, had to figure it out in the field, and then remedy the situation so that we do right by our client. So why do I bring all of that up? Because like I was telling you before, there's this trend online of roofing contractors spraying a hybrid spray foam and coating roof system. And it's not a full foam application, but they're coining it as a foam as needed basis. Basically, they're just dusting problematic areas like filling low spots, hitting penetrations, seams, transitions prior to the application of the coating. So it's really just a coating system. And like I said before, there are plenty of contractors that know much more than we do.
We're slow learners, and we're not particularly good listeners.
That's not something that I'm arguing. And if the system is performing for these contractors, good on them. One thing as a business owner I know is that clients are always looking for a cost-effective alternative to a new roofing system, something that will perform for them. But when I lean on our three factors of success that we were talking about earlier, I'm a little hesitant to buy into it. Spray foam specs have both minimum and maximum depth requirements. And, without getting too deep into the weeds, it's spray foam 101 to know not to spray closed cell foam too thick in any given pass. Because that foam has a reaction that is exothermic, meaning that it produces heat during that chemical reaction and it can char, essentially ruining or compromising the integrity of the structure of the foam and the performance of the foam, or in worst case scenario, it could cause fire. But that's typically on interior. It's a concern on exterior, but typically on interior, they have that more of a concern. But on the flip side, the same exothermic reaction that we're worried about if we spray foam too thick is also needed to provide enough material or heat, I guess, to initiate that chemical reaction and create the foam that's going to give, all of the benefits, the adhesion benefits, the monolithic benefits, the waterproofing benefits, and the insulation benefits. So the specs say that, plus our colleagues and mentors support these claims because, again, through the lesson of hard knocks for them, they learned the hard way. And so we're not trying to replicate these.
Of course, I could get a hell of a good look at a T-bone steak by sticking my head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it.
Bull's ass.
with that said, you know, we've always followed the specs and guidance of others, but two things, I guess. Two things that we've never done. We've never started a fire, knock on glass, but we've also never sprayed foam too thin. So on a metal roof coating restoration that we did last year, we performed a controlled experiment by using spray foam in a very specific area and built a cricket above a mechanical unit on the top side of that mechanical unit so that we could eliminate some ponding water issues. The right way to do it typically is to build that cricket so that it diverts the water, and then anywhere that it's less than a ½ inch, remove that down so that it's a ½ inch at least on the roof substrate before you go on to coat it. The majority of the foam was applied at the proper depths, you know, but in this instance we tapered the cricket to redirect that and intentionally dusted the edges and then left them as were before we continued to coat. Fast forward to today, after a little over a year, we just got done with the inspection of that cricket, and these are the results that we found. The foam that was applied at the proper depths of a ½ inch or greater still very well adhered. The foam was adhered to the roofing substrate, the coating was adhered to the foam still, no issues. But there were areas that we tapered it that were under ½ inch. Not all the areas, but some, and I'll be interested to know what shows up in the future. But in this first year, a significant amount of those areas that it went from a ½ inch to a dusting, adhesion between the coating and the foam and the thin foam seems to be a little better, but most of the foam itself seems to have lost adhesion to the areas of the roof substrate. There were some areas where the coating seems to have lost adhesion to the roof too. It's not evident, but it's my inclination or my suspicion that it's because the foam was so lightly dusted between the two materials that's the culprit. So basically that's what we found. I pray for other roofing contractors that are doing this, that those roofs will perform for them. We're going to continue to keep our eye on it and fix it if the risks become complete failures. That way we're not compromising this building owner's roof. But if anything changes, we're definitely going to post another video. For anybody listening, if you have any different experiences or you want to share a comment or just appreciate the intel, please leave a comment, join the conversation below. And also, if you saw any value in this, we'd sure appreciate it if you hit that like button and the share button.